Hello. Okay. I am the guru of Survivor. No. Okay, so I guess I'll try to be more like YouTube. So Survivor is the topic, and then I do see a few videos on YouTube about Survivor, and like I think the main dude is like at Peridium. He like does a lot of Survivor content and stuff. And there's another guy too that has like the chess piece avatar. um, I don't like their videos because they're very, I notice with Survivor fans, is statistics based. Like they just grab all the numbers and who wins what, the challenges and stuff, and they like present the information, but they don't really like explain anything. You know, it's just like, here, did you know this about this challenges? And it's like, okay, so that's cool, but they don't really like sit down and like explain how they feel about the show, who are their personal favorites. You know, I don't really know anything about them, you know. So yeah, I thought I'd make my own content on Survivor. Alright, so I was just thinking, let's just get to the meat and nitty gritty is just race on Survivor. So I go on Survivor Sucks, and then everything is suddenly like race based, and then you know it's like all the minorities hate all the white people contestants, and like white people are like extremely KKK racist as usual, and then just like, okay, internet, you know, just the language online. And then I found out I'm the only guy that feels this way about race on Survivor. And I guess I'll just explain. Like, when I was growing up, I never thought about race. Like, for example, I'll like look at Sarah and I wouldn't be like, oh, she's white, Caucasian, white girl. I would never think that in my life. I just watch the show. And then, do I do it for like my own minorities? I'm like, well, yeah, sometimes, because it's so hard to not see if someone's like black or if someone's like Latino, you know. And then I know all the Filipino contestants, all the Asians, you know, of course. And then I'm like the only guy that feels this way about race on Survivor. It's just like, it is what it is. Because like, I guess the main thing that people say is our history in America. It's just like, white people came here, they created the history, and this is what we're living in today because of all that they did. So yeah, we all understood that in history. And then, but like, us minorities, we just don't really care that much. We're just like, you know, that's cool and everything. We do have our own lives at home. We do care about our own people. You know, just because, like, I'm not saying white people push us out or don't include us or exclude us. It just is like that. You know, even in school growing up, you notice in high school, it happens. Suddenly your white friends don't want to hang out anymore. And then it's just like, okay, you know, people change, or they're thinking, I just think they're thinking about their jobs and stuff in the future. They get real serious about everything, and then they just don't want to be friends with you anymore and talk about the same old crap, like, from the neighborhood. You know, they just don't want to talk about that anymore, and they're more future focused. So that's like my happy little take on that. And then, but I don't know what they're really thinking. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows. And then, like now, I think ever since Cook Islands, Survivor producers are just like, let's talk about race. And they're like, let's make a big deal about race in America. And then we're just like, okay, race is part of the strategy now, or whatever us kids are thinking. And then, so I think the race thing started in Cook Islands, like, for sure. But definitely, if you go back, it goes much further back and stuff. And then now it's all about race. They just say they're black, we can't do this, it's bad for your community. All the minorities should stick together, oust all the whites, let's just win the money. And then it's like, okay, that's a little bit too unfair, I think. Or it's just not like, it's not fair. I don't think doing that is very, like, it's like uncouth or something, I think black people started it the most because they're just like, we demand reparations. And they're like, white people did this to us, so they deserve what they get now. And it's like, okay, cool, And then all of a sudden, like, within the minority community, let me just say this first, and then we'll go back to white people. Black people sort of, like, separated themselves from the minorities all of a sudden. And they're like, no, we're not minorities, like, all of us together. We're black and we're separated from everyone, minorities included. And we're just like, okay. Have you always felt that way? And then now race is just a free-for-all on Survivor. So it didn't really do anything to me, but, like, whenever I rewatch the older seasons, like, I start thinking about it now. And then, I'm just, like, I don't know, like, I made a comment, like, or everyone says the same thing online. They're just like, the earlier seasons are so, what is it? There's just so many white people on the earlier seasons. It's an all-white cast. That's what I say. It's an all-white cast with, like, 2 or 3 minorities sprinkled in. And the minorities are usually going to be black first. And then Latinos, and then Asians last. So that's how it goes in America. It goes whites on TV first, then a little bit of black, and then Latinos, and then Asian one last. Because you can just see on the show, like, I know everything. It's just like, first couple seasons, there's like 2 or 3 black people in the cast of 16. And then they put 1 Latino in, and then they put 1 Asian in on, like, the 5th, number 5 season. I don't know why people equate Asian with the number 5. I don't know why. Yeah, and it just goes in that order. And then, like, to be honest, all the posters on Survivor Sex are a little bit kind of like trolling. Like, you can just tell they're just not really like that, but they just act that way on the internet. And it's hard to, like, really understand or communicate with them about some stuff, because they're just, like, saying weird stuff all the time. But, like, here's my take. It's just, like, I almost kind of prefer the all-white cast with a couple minorities. Because that's just how America has been, like, for me, growing up with the Survivor. It's just, like, I don't go on Google and look up statistics and, like, population density of races or anything, so I have no idea. But I know from growing up on TV and in real life that I just know there's a lot of white people in America. That's just a fact. And then, minorities are called minorities because they're, like, less of us compared to everyone else. And then, yeah. And then, it's just, like a comfort thing, because like I don't want to say anything, but like I just kind of feel like white people is like scared easily of like, you know, different people, and then they're just like, we want to see more white people on TV because we have a family, and then this is what we like to watch, you know, and then, you know, a couple of black people first is like, alright, you know, but like, oh my god, Filipino, no, you gotta wait for like season 13, and, you know, just like stuff like that. And then, I actually don't know why they feel that way besides being scared. Cause like it is like 2023, and like this started in 2000 or like 1999, and like if you've never met a minority before, just like go out of your cave, you know what I mean? And then, but on the other hand, us minorities, we're just like, we're here, you know, we're black. We do that sometimes. And yeah, I was gonna say, like, usually on Survivor they handpick everyone and they pick out the tribes on purpose, like with the reason. And usually in the earlier seasons, it's an all-white cast of 16 with like 2 or 3 minorities, usually black. And like the 2 black contestants always end up on one tribe together, always, versus 8 white people. And to me, the feeling is like, if I end up on the tribe, like, that means we're the weaker tribe. And then I know everyone feels that way. And then, like, white people are like, oh my god, we have to, like, drag the minorities, you know, da-da-da. But, like, to, like, defend myself is just, like, you know, we're here to help, and, like, you know, we cross a finish line and walk the whole way just like you did. You know, it's a team thing. Everyone has to cross the finish line together as a team, you know, and I pulled my weight, you know, and then, like, yeah. I was gonna say, like, and then white people were like, oh no, we need more white people because we're stronger, like, racially and, like, physically and, like, spiritually, and, like, but mainly it's like, it's a physicality thing, we just are stronger, da-da-da. And we're definitely weaker with the 2 minorities, and then, yeah. But it's like, you can't do everything yourself, and, you know, we're here to help. And then, what else was I thinking? I almost enjoy having to compete with all whites, just because when I do win, it just makes it feel all that much better, you know? Versus if now you have 15 minorities and 5 whites, you know. It makes the win that much more sweeter, you know, when you beat like 16 white people as a minority. And because you just think back, like, how stupid, like, why are you guys voting each other off and stuff. But that's another video. That's a different topic. And then I've come to learn that I don't know what to say besides white. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like saying Caucasian because it has the word Asian in it and cock. And I have no idea what a Caucasian is. It's like the weirdest word. So I just say white. And then I was thinking swallow. White people are very sensitive people, especially like men. They're like very like dad and like that. And I forgot what else I was gonna say on that, but I've come to learn they're like that, and they don't like to show it, except for like a few people do, and they're just like, how sweet. Okay, and then yeah, I think I said everything. It's just like the all white cast on the earlier seasons, and then just like two or three minorities, usually black people, on the same tribe together, versus the 8 white people, and then like, but I also think like me as a minority when I'm playing, I'm just like, why are you guys voting each other off? You know, like, are you trying not to make racism that obvious? Or, like, you can't be too obvious about it. Like, you know you're gonna eventually, I know I'm gonna eventually be voted off. Why don't you just do it first? If you're gonna eventually do it, why not just do it first? You know, and then like I was thinking some parents don't like to spoil their children a lot, and they're like, hush, don't tell kids that money is so important, and they're like, don't tell kids that food and water is so important. They don't like to spoil their kids that way. And then, but Survivor makes it fun, you know. And then I was thinking about games online about this too. Well, yeah, I said everything already. Like, now it's all about race. It's just like, this is the only topic anymore. And I do miss the earlier seasons where it was more subtle or even unsaid, which is like even better. You know, I don't want to know about racism. I don't want to know that you don't like me because I'm not white. I don't need to know that. You know, you can just vote me off and like get rid of me, but like you don't have to tell me. You know, I kind of prefer it that way versus all of us like hating each other right off the bat based on like color. But at the same time, it's just like, why do you feel that way though? You know, just like, why do you feel that way? I have no idea. Besides, like, your parents taught you to do that to us or something. Yeah. And then sometimes I do feel like, why do the producers want a white person to win $1 million more than minorities? You know, why do they want to help a white person? Why do they want to charity a white person? You know, and then, but I do have a scientific, like, researched reason as to why they do that, and it's just because like it is a TV show and they look for certain looks. Like the main look they look for in a Caucasian player is just like the Kelly kind of like blonde, long, straight, stringy hair, intellectual, academic, college, kind of pretty skinny white girl, and then she's like kind of snarky and like bitchy, snotty, and she's hot. You know, that's what they look for the most. And then for minorities, usually the look that they look for is very like, I don't know how to say it. It's like very maybe like Indian or very sort of like Punjabi, sort of Middle Eastern, but without the head wrap, kind of Hispanic kind of look for a woman. And then for a guy, they want the total turban thing. That's what they look for in America for a minority, you know. So it makes me feel even more invisible. Because, like, I think that's very, like, New York, kind of like Jewish type of humor. Kind of like a minority to us is, like, very turban, sort of New York, kind of sweaty, kind of like hairy, kind of black hair, kind of like that. And then I guess like for little kids growing up, like little brown boys like me, like, don't you think the pretty white girl blonde is like hot? You know, I guess that's what they're kind of going for. And I'm like, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, And then, yeah, I still like that look. I just ordered Lollipop Chainsaw, you know. So I still like that Juliet type of look. I don't know how you guys say that name. I say Juliet until I hear it in the video game and they're like, it's Juliet. So, yeah. I'm sorry if that was so scientific and stats and boring. Like, John made race so statistical. But yeah, that's how I feel about it emotionally. You know, Survivor's never affected me in the negative. It's actually helped me deal with negativity. Because, like, I get so used to disappointment in, like, my favorite never wins, like, in Survivor. It's only happened maybe, like, I could totally count it, but it's happened maybe, like, 3 times. And the person who's my favorite is not the person who I think is gonna win. So they're 2 totally different picks. And, you know, Survivor's just a game to me. You know, it's just a TV show. And, like, I know there's an art and a science to TV shows and stuff. Which I think is, like, production talk. But I know a little bit of it. And I know talking about it a little bit is, like, okay. But they show it on the DVD, so it's fine. And there's still like hush hush about it, which I love because it's so mysterious, and it leaves the students in the audience hanging, you know. And then, and these are all just things I pick up on. It's not outright said, you know, like, but I can just read body language or whatever, you know, I can just read into people, and I know that's what they're trying to tell me. I know it's hard talking about that because, like, you don't want to tell kids that, you know, racism exists, and you don't want to lie to them and say, like, racism doesn't exist because, you know, not just because it's a word or just because, like, of anyone. I really don't care. You know, oh my god, I was saying something so bad. I'm just like, you just have moments with people, you know, on the street, and it's just like, it is what it is, you know. And then, yeah. Is there anything else? I talked about Kelly and, like, Turban. I was gonna say, like, some white people don't like when you, like, point out that they're white for some reason. Cause like me, I'm just like, hi, I'm Filipino. What are you? And they're just like white, and then I'm just like, cool, or whatever. And it's just odd when they say like, oh, white doesn't exist to us, or like white isn't anything, and it's just like, yeah, it does. We know it does. Like, what does it say on your driver's license? You know what I mean? Or they like to pretend that white is not a race or something. It's a little bit strange, to be honest. Like, why can't you just say it? If I'm not embarrassed to be Asian, like, you shouldn't be embarrassed to be white. It just is what it is. Why would you be? You know? It's just strange. And then there's all this stuff online about, like, white dudes, like, liking Filipino boys. And it's just like, oh my god, daddy, what's up? No, I'm just kidding. But there's this strange stuff. Like, I saw this one website. It was like, white daddy for Japanese geisha. And I was so creeped out by it. Because, like, I don't know. So it's some older gentleman. And it does look creepy, like, to us. But, I don't know where I learned the, like, white guys like Filipino boys thing. I think it's just inherent in Asian culture, that they go to Thailand for, like, lady boys and stuff like that because they have money and they're, like, old and, like, filthy. Which I guess is, like, normal because, like, people are human and stuff. I'm not, like, anything about it. And then, I don't know. I'll admit, I do think some really bad stuff about white people sometimes. But it's mostly from the news and, like, crimes and, like, history. And I'm like, you know, they say all this stuff like, black people are, like, the problem with crime, or, like, Italians started gangs, or stuff like that. But I just think it's, like, mostly, I'm not, like, trying to make it better, but it's, like, mostly, like, petty crimes. Like, you get held up in a major city, it's like, okay, you shouldn't have been out that time, or you should have been with, like, your husband or something. But, like, sometimes I do think some really bad stuff about white people, and I, like, keep it to myself, and I don't say it out loud. And it's mostly, like, stuff about, like, I don't think I could say that word on here, but it's, like, pedo bear stuff, and, like, chimo, like, mole means, like, chamo, you know what I mean? And, it's mostly that kind of, like, heinous sort of crimes that I think about that whites do a lot. And I, like, keep that stuff to myself. Yeah. And they, like, come to, like, here and, like, Asian countries and stuff and, like, do it. But, yeah, that's just life. I don't know. It just happens. I don't think anything about it. It's just the news stuff. Why would you be into, like, historic news corp? You know? And then I do find, like, white boy face, like, still comforting and, like, trusting, because it's, like, what I grew up with on TV. I don't hate people or anything. I'm not in competition with you either. Because I know, like Southern culture is very into beauty pageants, even male beauty pageants, and so like their looks is like their pride and like joy and stuff. So yeah, I'm not in competition with you though. um, Wretched is the female who thinks about beauty. Beauty fades with time. What is that Bible verse? It's I think it's like Corinthians 14 or something. It's like, how does it go? Hold on, I have like 30 seconds. It's like I know it's like beauty fades with time and like this'll too shall pass. It's not the first hardest thing I had to do. Beauty fades with time. A woman that fears the Lord shall be praised in his heavenly, holy, white God